Well, there is a generation of, just a generational gap between Steiner and Korngold and Waxman. Steiner, after all, came here at the time of the First World War,
Yeah.
and was a conductor, as you know, on Broadway, and did musicals. So he was really not affected personally, not leaving his family out of it for a second, but he personally was not thrown out of Austria by Hitler. Korngold and Waxman is a entirely different case, completely different case. And I would say Waxman and Korngold were not only colleagues, but good friends, as were their children. George Korngold was a very close friend of mine throughout, my life. And I think that Korngold, Waxman, Rózsa, Herman formed a nucleus of, Rózsa being from Budapest, a nucleus of composers who had whose musical horizons were beyond the film industry. They were interested in what else was being written in all parts of the world. They went to concerts. They were interested in scoring pictures with unusual orchestrations, using different kinds of instruments. In other words, moving forward their own art. Their interest was strictly music. They didn't really have hobbies. They didn't go to the racetrack. They didn't have girlfriends that I knew about. But they would go to New York to hear the latest whatever. And I think they missed very much the musical life in Europe, particularly since they all grew up in very cosmopolitan environments. Even Herman, being a New Yorker, grew up at a time that a whole new generation of which he was a part of, composers in the 1930s were flourishing in this city. Waxman, Korngold went back. I mean, it's a famous trip that the Korngolds and the Waxmans took to premiere the Korngold Symphonic Serenade in Paris in 1949. And they're on the boat, probably the Ile-de-France, sailing from New York to Le Havre, and the telegram arrives, concert canceled, we only sold 500 seats. I still, in fact, have a poster from that. So what did they do? I mean, they had these 2 weeks in Europe. The Korngolds went back to Vienna. My parents went to Berlin to see what it was like. They met again in Paris and sailed home. Very, very sad.